Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'll be checking out the VIOFO A119 Mini 2. It's an upgrade from the A119 Mini with a brand new Sony STARVIS 2 IMX675 image sensor and voice commands. So let's get into it. This video is broken into a variety of chapters. If there's one of particular interest to you, look at the time index and jump to that section, or expand the description section of this video and use the link in that section. Now, let's get into the video. Let's check out what's inside the box. When you remove the outer sleeve and take the top of the box off, you can see the A119 Mini 2 in a protective covering inside this protective foam. Here's the A119 Mini 2 on the right and the previous generation A119 Mini on the left. You can see the look and feel is virtually identical except for the markings on the very bottom of the front. On the right side you have the USB-C connection port, which allows you to power the dash camera if you so desire using that, or you can use the provided data cable to connect it to your computer to access the files on the microSD card. And just below that is the microSD card slot, and the A119 Mini 2 will support microSD cards with a capacity of up to 512 gigabytes. On the left side is the recessed reset button. In this view you can see the windshield side of the dash camera, the GPS module with the double-sided tape that adheres either to the static sticker that you put on the windshield or to the windshield directly. Below that is the front camera lens. And then on the right side we can see the top of the GPS module where the USB-C connector from the hardwiring kit or the power cable plugs into that module. Here's a view of the GPS module removed from the A119 Mini 2. You simply slide the dash camera to the right and it will disengage from the 4 securing tabs. Here are the items included with the A119 Mini 2. In the upper left we have the cigarette lighter power port adapter and the cable to run from that power port adapter up to the A119 Mini 2. We have the USB data cable to connect it to your computer, a spare 3M double-sided tape in case you need to remove the module from the windshield or the static sticker and put it in a new location, a trim tool to help you route the cable, 2 static stickers which are used to make it easier to install and remove the dash camera from your car's windshield, a user manual, the read before installation card which tells you to test the dash camera before you install it, and then a support card which gives you ways to contact VIOFO for support on this product. Here are some of the optional accessories available for the A119 Mini 2. This is the circular polarizing lens filter. I find this very useful in my vehicle. It helps reduce the amount of reflections or glare off the windshield that's recorded by the dash camera. If you decide to remove the CPL filter for nighttime recording, I have found it beneficial to place a finger on the adjustment barrel for the front lens. That way it holds it in place while you remove the clip-on CPL filter. If you're going to be using the parking mode feature of this dash camera, it is recommended you obtain the VIOFO HK4 hardwiring kit. This hardwiring kit provides a low voltage cutoff feature which allows you to protect your vehicle's battery by pre-selecting a voltage level that it will turn off power to the dash camera. You can also connect this to your vehicle's fuse box or a dash cam battery pack as the power source for the dash camera. VIOFO offers a wireless Bluetooth remote control which allows you to remotely lock the video that's currently recording instead of having to reach and find the video protect button on the front of the dash camera. This is my feature comparison segment. This chart will show you the features of the A119 Mini 2 that's being reviewed in this video, the previous generation A119 Mini, and the recently released VIOFO WM1. All three are single channel dash cameras that typically are placed on the front windshield, but you could purchase them and place them wherever you want in the vehicle. They'll work just fine as long as you can run power to that location. The biggest change between the A119 Mini and the A119 Mini 2 is the use of the Sony STARVIS 2 IMX675 image sensor. The previous generation dash camera used the IMX335 image sensor. This is a big leap forward as far as image quality, day and night. Using the new Sony STARVIS 2 IMX675 image sensor with its larger pixel size allows more light to be captured at the same illumination level. This allowed the Night Vision 2 and HDR features to be highly optimized in this dash camera. Using the HDR feature for the A119 Mini, the previous generation, during the daytime resulted in some strange color effect on the video, but that seems to be greatly improved with the new Sony STARVIS 2 image sensor. Looking at the lens specifications, You can see that the A119 Mini 2 is listed at 140 degrees field of view, and then in the A119 Mini it's listed approximately 140. It's officially listed at 140, but it was actually slightly under that. You'll notice you'll get a slightly wider field of view with the A119 Mini 2. Make sure you check out the pros and cons section of this video, where I will discuss a lens issue that I ran into while testing, and I found that the focus clarity would decrease in high temperature environments. VIOFO changed the lens used in the A119 Mini 2, starting with the production batches in July of 2023, and I'll go into more details about this topic in the pros and cons section of this video. Moving on to the microSD card max capacity, you'll see 512 gigabytes listed for the A119 Mini 2 and the A119 Mini. That is different than what the user manual states, which is 256 gigabytes as the max capacity. But VIOFO lists 512 gigabytes as the max capacity on the website, and they offer a 512 gigabyte microSD card to use with the dash camera. Since the rest of the features on the screen for the A119 Mini and the A119 Mini 2 are virtually the same, I'll let you pause the video so you can compare them side by side, or compare it with the VIOFO WM1. Moving on to page 2 of the feature comparison, you can see the only real difference here is the voice commands column has a yes, which they call this new feature Intelligent Voice Control. Intelligent Voice Control has a series of command phrases that can be used to request the dash camera to perform a series of command functions, such as lock the video, turn on Wi-Fi, turn off Wi-Fi, turn on screen, turn off screen. Adding this functionality to the dash camera makes it much easier to use and potentially safer to use while you're driving your vehicle. One enhancement I would like to see to this feature is the use of a guard phrase to wake up the dash camera, and then you would say the actual command phrase for the function you wish the dash camera to perform, such as OK VIOFO, and then lock the video. So the example would be OK VIOFO, it would make an acknowledgement sound of some sort, and then you'd say lock the video. Using a guard phrase like that prevents the dash camera from performing a function that you didn't intend it to perform just because you happen to say a phrase that matches one of the voice commands. Looking at the other feature comparisons on this page, they're the same except for pricing. The A119 Mini 2 is list priced at $150 US. The A119 Mini, the older generation, is $140 US, and the WM1 that was recently released is $120. The $10 increase over the previous generation for the A119 Mini 2 is a good bargain based on the fact it's got the brand new Sony STARVIS 2 IMX675 image sensor, and you get the brand new intelligent voice control feature using voice commands to control the dash camera. Please keep in mind these are the suggested retail prices for these dash cameras. There are often sales for these dash cameras. Make sure you check out this video's description section. I will have links down in there, be it affiliate links or direct links for the purchase of these dash cameras. If it is an affiliate link and you use that, I will receive a small commission off that particular purchase, but at no extra cost to you, and depending on the vendor, it may actually save you some money. On the screen, I thought I put together a series of questions and answers that might be helpful to users of the A119 Mini 2 dash camera, such as what type of power adapters are available, what does the VIOFO Bluetooth wireless remote do, although with the intelligent voice control feature added to this dash camera, you can use that to control the dash camera in the same manner as the wireless remote. And then the last section is a series of button presses that you can use with this dash camera to configure or cause the camera to do something, and this is an extended list compared to what's in the user manual. So pause the video here, check that out, and I hope you find it helpful. When I review a dash camera, I perform a series of power consumption tests with that dash camera in the various modes of operation. On the top section, I have the normal recording that's noted by NR, or driving recording depending on your terminology for it. I have the power consumption in milliamps at 12.6 volts. I've converted those to watts values in the columns just to the right of that. On the right side, I have a notes column which will have information pertinent to that particular test, including the firmware bitrate setting, the actual bitrate of the videos generated in that mode if it does generate a video. One thing to note here is the firmware available at this point in time for the VIOFO A119 Mini 2 generates variable bitrate content. There is a firmware release being worked on that will generate constant bitrate content, much like their other dash cameras. Now let's move on to the parking mode operations of the dash camera. There are 3 parking modes: the auto event detection, which is noted by AED, the time-lapse recording, which is TLR, and low bitrate recording. The average watt consumption values are used in the chart below for the time estimates, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. All three parking modes of the dash camera will utilize the G sensor for impact detection, and if a video is being recorded in any of those modes, it will move that video to the read-only directory. In the case of auto event detection, which is motion-based, if it's recording a video already, that's already placed in the read-only directory based on the current logic in the firmware. But if no video is being recorded in auto event detection and an impact occurs, it will generate a buffered recording at that point in time based on the impact detection. In this section, I wanted to point out the fact that when you power off the dash camera by long pressing the menu button, it still consumes power. It's in a very low power state, but it's still consuming power. Now this value is a combination of the A119 Mini 2 power consumption, plus the power consumption of the hard wiring kit or the cigarette lighter adapter. I wanted you to be aware of how much power it's consuming in this state. Now you may arrive at home and you don't need it to record in parking mode. This is a valid way of reducing the power consumption from your vehicle's battery or dashcam battery pack. Just be aware it is still consuming power. And here's how much the HK4 or cigarette lighter adapter themselves consume without even being plugged into the A119 Mini 2. So these consumption values are part of the values in the section just above this as well. In this section, I'm showing you my time estimates for the A119 Mini 2 operating in the various parking modes, and I'm taking the average watt power consumption values from the chart above. Then I have two battery pack capacities, first one being 76.8 watt hours or 6,000 milliamp hours, and the second column is 96 watt hours or 7,500 milliamp hours. Please remember, these are just estimates of the amount of time that the operations will continue in parking mode for the A119 Mini 2. The assumptions here are the dashcam battery pack is charged to 100% capacity before starting parking mode, and you're able to utilize all of the dashcam battery pack charge to power the dashcam operations. You may not be able to obtain that when using the HK4 hard wiring kit because of the low voltage cutoff feature that may turn off the dash camera before the dashcam battery pack has been fully depleted of its charge level. I hope you find this power consumption data helpful in making an informed decision if the VIOFO A119 Mini 2 is the right dash camera for you. This section contains sample footage from the VIOFO A119 Mini 2 dash camera. This footage was gathered while I drove my car on a small loop in my local town. This footage was gathered with clear skies during the daytime, cloudy skies, and at night. This would give you a good idea of the type of footage this dash camera can capture. For additional footage from this dash camera and comparing it with other dash cameras, you might want to check in the description section of this video for links to other comparison videos I have for the A119 Mini 2. And here are my final thoughts on the VIOFO A119 Mini 2. I'll go over the pros and cons in this section. The first item on the list of pros for this dash camera is the fact that VIOFO used the Sony STARVIS 2 IMX675 image sensor. It is a vast improvement over the previous generation, and it improves the image quality day and night. The A119 Mini 2 supports memory cards with a capacity of up to 512 gigabytes. VIOFO recommends using one of their own memory cards, a SanDisk Max Endurance, not the High Endurance, or the SanDisk Extreme. I've used all three of those in various VIOFO dash cameras and they have all worked well. The A119 Mini 2 is the first dash camera model from VIOFO to include the feature of intelligent voice control. You can use voice commands to control the operations of the dash camera, and this feature is starting to show up in the newer models that were released after the A119 Mini 2, such as the A229 Pro and the A229 Plus. The next item on the list is voice notifications. This dash camera uses a spoken phrase to let you know that a function has completed or an error condition exists. And here's a quick demo of using voice commands to control some functions and the notifications that are presented by the dash camera as a result of that.
Recording started.
Lock the video.
Video protected.
Turn on Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi enabled. Recording started.
Turn off Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi disabled.
Next item on the list is the fact that this dash camera supports 3 parking modes. Auto event detection parking mode is a buffered parking mode, meaning it will give you 15 seconds before the triggering motion or impact event and 30 seconds after for a total of 45 seconds. Time-lapse records continuously at a reduced frame rate with no audio recorded, and low bitrate records continuously as well at a reduced bitrate and with audio. Hopefully one of those parking mode types will be appropriate for your parking mode needs. The last item on my list of pros for this dash camera is the Wi-Fi support it has. It supports 2.4, 5, and 5.8 GHz Wi-Fi connections. The website only lists 2, but if you look at the settings menu on the dash camera, it actually supports 5.8 GHz as well, for where that's necessary throughout the world. Having a 5 GHz Wi-Fi connection dramatically decreases the amount of time required to download video files from the dash camera. Let's move on to my list of cons for the VIOFO A119 Mini 2 dash camera. My first item on the list of cons for this dash camera is the fact that no memory card is included with the dash camera in the box. This would be helpful for diagnosing situations where the camera may not be recording correctly, so if they provided a 32 GB VIOFO memory card in the box, I know it may increase the price of the product, but it may help reduce support calls if there's something supplied directly with the dash camera, and then support could then interact with the user to test it out with that memory card. So pay attention to the list of supported and recommended cards that I showed you earlier in this section. The next con on the list is the fact that this has a fairly small screen size. Now this probably impacts older people like me. The screen is fairly small, and when it's up on the windshield behind the center rearview mirror, you really can't see the screen at all. It's nice that it does have a screen, it's just that it's really small and it's not as helpful for older people like myself. The next item on my list of cons is an enhancement request for the intelligent voice control feature. Right now you simply say a voice command and it performs that function. I would like to see a guard phrase added such as "OK VIOFO," then it would acknowledge with some sort of beep, and then you would actually say the command you would like to have performed at that point. This will prevent accidental invocation of those commands. Feedback from VIOFO has already been that this is probably not going to happen, but I would hope to see this in some future firmware release for all the VIOFO dash cameras that have this feature. Let's move on to parking mode additional items. The VIOFO HK4 or HK3-C can be used to power the dash camera for parking mode operations, and it costs about $18 US. But that hardware kit does not include any fuse taps, so if you're going to be connecting the hardware kit to a fuse panel in your vehicle, you'll need to purchase those in addition to the hardware kit. So if you're going to be wiring this in that manner, make sure you account for that additional cost in your total purchase. Now let's move on to the last con on the list, which is related to a lens focus issue for some of the early adopters of the VIOFO A119 Mini 2. When I was first testing this dash camera, I was noticing after a parking mode session during the hot summer in Northern California, I was noticing the focus quality would degrade severely, and I reported that to VIOFO and some other people, but not a lot of people reported it. And after I made the public announcement of that on Dashcam Talk website, some others were noticing that same problem. So in July of 2023, VIOFO changed the lens that was used with the A119 Mini 2 and changed it to a lens from the older A129 Plus dash camera, and that lens change has corrected the issue. I noticed there was a visible external change between the lens on the early versions of the A119 Mini 2 and the ones with the updated lens. So if you look at the pictures, you can see that there's almost a flat surface right by the lens glass with the original A119 Mini 2 lens, and the updated lens has a very narrow band around the outside and then a taper down to the lens glass. If you have one of the earlier versions of the A119 Mini 2 with the original lens type, and you have a focus quality problem like I've described here, I would open a support ticket with VIOFO via their website and ask to exchange the dash camera for one that has the updated lens, and that production change took place in July of 2023. This is the issue that delayed my release of my review video for the A119 Mini 2. I wanted to make sure I had proper information to tell you how to correct the situation if you have one of the early A119 Mini 2s with the original lens that is susceptible to heat degradation of the focus quality. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that bell notification to be notified when I upload new videos just like this. Look in the description section of this video for links to the other sample footage videos that I have on my channel for the A119 Mini 2. And if you're considering the purchase of an A119 Mini 2, please consider using one of my affiliate links. I will make a commission on that purchase, but at no extra cost to you. And I hope you come back and check out more reviews like this one. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.